here on KUHS The Stream. Wow, I'm back on. I can't tell you how excited I probably say this every show. This is the highlight of my week, is to be here with you, talking with you, sharing ideas with you, hoping that you're posting in the Facebook site and chatting with me. So, hey, a couple shout outs before I get going. I have a couple marvelous, marvelous sponsors. You heard the commercials, hopefully. Peak Wellness, Acupuncture, and that's Nancy Harnham. And you can reach her she is open in Arvada and Denver. She's marvelous. And if you're worried about your health right now and your immune system, she is an amazing, amazing healer, really. And acupuncture doesn't really hurt, so don't worry. If you have any kind of pain, acupuncture is hands down one of the best cures for that. And Veterans Pride, one of my favorite nonprofits. Let's help veterans feel proud of their accomplishments and share those with their families. Okay, I have to add one more, and this is one of my favorite nonprofits. And I know that I've talked to you about all of us becoming philanthropists by the end of the year, which for me is just donate $10 this month. And so between now and the end of July, I am raising money to my annual fundraiser for the MS Society. I got involved about 11 years ago when my brother died from a reaction to his MS medication. So in an attempt to make him feel better, he had a reaction, and I have been involved with the MS Society ever since. I have to tell you they're marvelous, and that being involved with the MS Society, I have met more and more people who I never would have guessed who have MS. If you go to the Facebook site, I have posted a link there, and you can donate through my fundraising page so that if the MS Society gets the money through my page. And I am doing it in honor of my brother and in honor of everyone listening to me who has MS. And for the past 11 years, I've been a top fundraiser. And I ask you to help me continue that streak. All I get for it is a bunch of applause. So it's not like any money goes to me. So you can find that on my Facebook page, on my LinkedIn page, on my Twitter page. You can find me in all of those places. So I guess enough commercials, right? I am going to try to make sure that I am looking at the Facebook site as we chat today. And if you have any comments or questions, I want you to post them. Okay, who am I? My name is Dr. Lisa. Oh, I got some feedback from my computer. Sorry about that. So, I'm Dr. Lisa on KUHS The Stream, and you may have also listened to me on the Crystal Ball Hour, where I let it be known that yes, I am a channeler. Yes, I use a crystal ball, and that is part of who I am. But today, we are going to talk about astrology and money, because yeah, I'm an astrologer. I do have that PhD in psych. Just in case you're wondering how far out there I am kind of grounded. But, I have noticed that I'm kind of out there for a lot of people. You can find me, though, if you want a one-on-one session with me. My website is elisarobin.com. You can find me on all those other places I mentioned. You also can read my amazing book, The Way of the Well. It is available on Amazon and I think also BarnesandNoble.com. And it is a spiritual adventure romance. Guys have liked it too, just so you know. But it may be a little more for women. And in their reading using a wine glass to use it as a crystal ball is part of the story. So, The Way of the Well. I'm actually writing a follow-up book right now, so you should read this one before I come out with the next one. Okay, so much to talk about today. I hope you're doing well. I hope I'm right on track with what you need to hear today. Because you know what? The world feels crazy. Still, And I have to say that as an astrologer and listening to other astrologers, we're not expecting that to end anytime soon. However, when we know why it's crazy and how it's affecting us individually, we can make choices about how we deal with that and how we deal with that. Okay? And that's what I'm hoping to do with you for you today. So I'm going to toggle into my Facebook site for the Dr. Lisa Show, and you can go on Henry's, you can go online. But I'd love to know if you have any astrological questions as we go along today. So, okay, still seeing it live. So, the goal for this radio show is inspiring a renaissance of spirit within you. And I'm hoping that today I help you move that needle a little bit of fear or anxiety, loneliness, or wherever you might be feeling, to joy, to hope. That's my goal. And remember, this show is spiritually multilingual. So if I use a word that doesn't work for you, just translate it, okay? Because the spiritual concepts are universal. They're not just one kind of way of talking, one version of reality, okay? They're universal notions that we get from different words. Okay, so that's enough chat, right? What I want to talk about today, I want to talk about money today. And there's a great reason for that. I was giving a workshop just a few days ago, and somebody asked me when I was talking about money and making money, and they said, but money is bad, right? Money is like why people get power hungry. I said, no. Money helps us do things. It's who we are. But money, when we start getting money, reveals who we are. So it is often an invitation to reveal our best self. That's what money can do. People see money as power. They see money as freedom. Some people experience money as love, and some people experience money as sort of creative energy, reward, or acknowledgement. And some of us experience money in all of those ways. And none of those are inherently bad. I would love, at this point in my life, honestly, to make enough money to be a major donor to 2 or 3 of my favorite charities. Clearly, MS would be one, but I have a few of them. Well, I would love to just be able to give vast amounts of money away. That means I need to make some. There's nothing wrong with that. So we struggle, and as humans, but definitely in the US, with notions of money, our relationship to it. I've talked to people who feel guilty if they have it and feel guilty if they don't. I talk to people who have what we would, and most of us would consider more than enough money to last 2 lifetimes, and they have a scarcity mentality. And then I've talked to people who get by below a poverty level and feel rich and live a life that is very full. I've seen both sides. What I want to do today is talk about where money is in our chart, what we can look at in our chart to give us some guidance about our ideas about money. And let me add that ideas about money also connect to, if you're an entrepreneur, your brand. So if you're out there launching a business, and I have to say that if you're trying to decide if you should launch, Mercury, which we'll talk about this by the end of the show, we'll update you on all the retrogrades and directs and eclipses. Mercury just went retrograde, and Venus is going to go direct in just a few days. I would suggest that after Venus goes direct is a perfect time to launch a new business. If you're thinking about March, you might just wait till that one goes direct. So just days away. So this is a great time to think about what does money mean to me? How do I use my chart to better understand who I can be in business. Now, I'm not doing the stock market. I think I have said to you that I am doing there are some brilliant astrologers out there who do the stock market, and that's not what I'm talking about. I'm in real life in that area. I want to talk about you and your money and your chart. Okay? And I'm going to keep checking in on the Facebook site to see if any of you are posting in here. And not seeing any comments yet. Okay. All right. So if you don't have your chart, you can go to the computer, Google, do a search on, run a free astrological chart, and put your information in and just look at your chart. You can get it. It's better if you have your time of birth because then you have the right. But for what I'm going to talk about today, you don't necessarily do that. You have your chart, fill it out and follow along. And I'm going to give you some examples. So there are every astrologer starts with sun and rising. That is absolutely important for who you are. I want to look specifically at the planets that talk to us about money. So two of them are Venus and Mars, and then I'm going to add the third one, Mercury. Okay. Now, remember, there's a difference between your birth chart and today's chart. So we're looking at your birth chart, which never changes. It is a picture of where all the planets were the day you were born. It never changes. The planets just keep moving up there and doing things, right? Okay. In your birth chart, you want to look at Venus and Mars and Mercury. Slightly different way. Mars talks to us about how we go after things, how we chase what we desire, what motivates us. And so Mars in your chart is how you go after money. Now think about this in terms of if you're working for someone else or you're starting a business or maybe your brand even. How do you go after money? What is it that drives you? Because that should probably be part of what your brand is. For example, if it's in a water sign, you're going after money with a sense of heart or emotion or maybe passion if you're a Scorpio. Right? So there's emotion involved. If you're in an air sign, you're going after it mentally with thought and care, mental care, right? Wanting precision, wanting your ideas and your notions to be what people notice. Right? Buy me because I got great ideas. If you're an earth sign, so the Capricorn Taurus, just last one, the company. This is what happens when Mercury is retrograded on the radio, right? So if you're an earth sign, right, then there's a groundedness that you want people to experience, that there's a sense of sensuality actually in those signs, of doing things the right way, one step after another. Virgo a little more perfection, Capricorn a little more step by step, Taurus definitely deep sensuality. And then there's this fire sign, right? So if you're a fire sign, Aries, Sagittarius, Leo, if you're a fire sign, then this is with mission and purpose and forward motion that you're always going to have when you're going after money. Always. Right? Now, it's an interesting, when somebody looks at your chart, remember there's a planet and a sign and a house. So the planet is what? The sign is how. And the house is where. Meaning where in the world. So I thought I would do like self-disclosure today because I don't have anyone else's chart that I can play with today. And Just going to update the Facebook site again, see if you're here. So my Mars, and if you're an astrologer out there, you're just going to get it right like this. My Mars is in Aries, and it is in the past. And it's barely aspect. It's not unaspect, barely aspect. What does that mean? It means when I want something, when I see something that I know I want, I can be relentless in the pursuit of. I have in my life, without having a business, let's say, but being an academic dean, opened the doors for myself and for others because, Aries is the ram that has to be born to bang her down the door. What I want, I can go for. Okay, that's how I go after. Now, how do we attract them? And you've heard me on this show, if you've listened to me, talk about the law of seduction. Yeah, I know you've heard about the law of attraction everywhere, and I have just taken it a level deeper. And partly because I've been told I'm too seductive, and I've decided to get rid of that. So, the law of seduction. How we create space so that we draw money and clients, right? Whatever we want, whatever we need in life, whatever we crave to us. That's a different kind of manifestation. The law of attraction, which at a deeper level is seduction, drawing it to us. That is ruled by Venus in your chart. So if you get your chart on Venus, Mars was that symbol that looks like a male symbol, right? And Venus is like a female symbol. And Venus in our chart rules love and money. There is a saying, where there is no love, there is no money. There's just, we could argue that there are many people who are very rich who have no love in them. And I can argue back that those are the people who live with a scarcity mentality. That they may overuse their money to try to comfort themselves, but they have no comfort from that money. Because those two things go together very well. Love and money. Right? Think of it as love and prosperity. But where there is love, success, and wealth are also wealth. Okay, no comments from you guys. Come on, I'm hoping somebody will chat in my site. So what does Venus, how do we look at Venus? We look at Venus, and we look at it by sign and by house. And again, if you're an astrologer listening to me, let me give you the information that I have Venus and Sagittarius completely unaspected. Completely unaspected. Very sad. And what does that mean? What's a Venus? Let's do the fire signs. Let's go through them again. It's how you draw something to you, right? How you attract to you money, love. So let me go back. If Venus in your chart is in a water sign, then you attract via an open heart, via passion, via love. Remember that Scorpio is always passion, whereas Cancer is let me feed you, and Pisces is that intuitive kind of understanding. So they're different emotions, they're different levels, but it's always through that that you attract. If you have fire, if you have Venus in a fire sign, what's happening? You know what happens? Moths to a flame, right? That level of wanting to it's people wanting to be with you. I have one of my dear friends who has Venus in Leo, and people just I go places with her occasionally, and inevitably people follow her around. Just follow her around. They want to be part of whatever she's part of. That's that flame energy, that leadership energy that always shows up. Or that maybe you're doing something exciting energy. What happens if it's in an air sign? You're trying to attract through ideas and concepts, through notions, through innovation, through creativity. but not necessarily art, creativity, but creative thinking, creative ideas. This is how you're attracting money to you. And then there's the air signs, right? That sense of groundedness, that sense of purpose, that sense of contentment. Those signs are good at being present, being very, very present with people. And often being so present that they resist change. So remember that every sign has that positive and that negative, right? It has that strength and it has that challenge. I always want to point that out because there are some signs that people say, oh my gosh, don't date anyone with that sign. And it's just not true. Well, maybe you shouldn't date anyone with that sign depending on your sign. But remember that a chart is much more complicated than just that sun sign. You've got all these other planets and a rising and asteroids and your north node. It's so much more complicated. So never judge somebody just on their sun sign. Okay? That's the one thing to take. And then, so we've done Mars and we've done Venus, and then we want to go through Mercury. Yeah? Mercury is how we communicate. And how we communicate also about money. Now, Mercury just went retrograde in the sky, which we will talk about in a minute because that will affect you. But Mercury in your chart is what we're talking about right now. So Mercury is how you communicate. And specifically about money in what we're talking about right now. So where these three planets overlap, like if you imagine a Venn diagram with three circles overlapping in the center, that's your brain. That's you and money. That's you and your relationship to wealth and prosperity and abundance. Okay? Because Mercury isn't just about communicating out. It's about the thoughts that go round and round in your head. Okay, so Mercury. What if you have Mercury in an air sign? You tend to think a lot. And it's so funny. If you have Mercury in an air sign and you have like one of those brains where it's like a trickle in a wheel, like always going, always going, always going. And you have a friend who has Mercury in earth sign and you try to ask them how they quiet their mind, they may just look at you like you're nuts because they don't have to quiet their mind. They've learned to quiet their mind. They were born to be able to quiet their mind. That earth-centered, meditative, I can be present energy. Right? So we have Earth that does that kind of ground-based, right? Earth grounded, sensuality based, often. Step by step sometimes. We have air that's that idea, generate, move, change, right? Mental, and fire, which is a kind of a do it, go for it, right? Aries is the battering ram. Sagittarius is the gypsy. It isn't the kind of cool sensual gypsy, right? It is the gypsy as in there's something better around the bend. I wonder how many pilots, quite honestly, have Gemini somewhere in their chart. Excuse me, Sagittarius somewhere in their chart, because Sagittarius is that gypsy that always wants to go. So you have that, I want to go for it, I want to do it, I want to lead, I want to be in charge, I want to be in front. There's a good deal. But that's what you communicate with your Mercury is in fact. Right? So water is the emotions. Communicating from heart. If you're fire and water, so how do you use this? You might ask. You haven't asked in the Facebook side. I just want to point that out. That I am here and ready to communicate and chat with you. Oh yeah, my Mercury is in Aquarius. If you're an astrologer and keeping notes on me, I'm just going to be so revealing today about who I am and what I am. Okay, how do you put those together? Well, think about this for a second. A brand, if you work with a coach, a career coach, a business coach, and they're going to try to elicit from you these kinds of questions. How do you see yourself? How do you communicate who you are? What is money to you? How do you go after money in your life? What do you want to draw to you? Those are the kinds of questions that a career coach is going to ask. If you have a chart, It will help you answer those questions. And in fact, it might help you discover something about yourself. Now, it doesn't mean that you build a logo based on those elements, but it might. It might mean that the logo that you resonate with really is about your Mercury, because that's what communicates out. And sometimes when we're working with somebody, what they design for us is much more about their style or what they think we're saying. And in fact, it may perfectly reflect your Mars or your both of these. It may not reflect how you want to communicate. Okay? And that's that sweet spot for all of us. So think about that. Think about that. You are listening, by the way, to the Dr. Lisa Show here on KUHS Denver, the stream. I am so glad you're here. And you're with me, Dr. Lisa. As you know, I have actually two shows. Once a month, I do a crystal ball hour and I do channeled readings, and you definitely have to sign in and ask questions for that one. And then twice a month, every other Thursday, I have this show. And we talk spirituality and astrology and so many interesting things. So thank you for signing in with me today. And if you, at the end of the hour, are just wondering, like, oh my gosh, how do I talk with this amazing woman and get her to look at my chart, it is so easy to find me. You can message me on Facebook. You can find me on LinkedIn. And you can go to my website, ElisaRobin.com. Robin is spelled with a Y, so watch your typing, especially right now because Mercury is retrograde. But yes, you can find me and you can be in touch. I also want to do one more shout out from the station, and that is we are participating in Operation Feed the 303. This is in conjunction with the Food Bank of the Rockies. And if you go to kuhsdenver.com, you will see a link where you can donate. COVID's been hard on people. Everything's been hard. It feels like on so many people. And we want to help people have food, especially kids. You know, some kids only get food when they go to school. You know that? So Food Bank of the Rockies, make sure the children do not go hungry. Great place to donate. And if you're in a donating mood, by all means, donate to one of my favorite causes, the MS Society, and that one is on my Facebook site. Okay. So where are we? We've talked about even money. Let me add a couple more things about money. When I'm working one-on-one with somebody, there's two other things I look at. And I look at a lot, but there's definitely two other things I look at. And that is, if you remember that an astrological chart looks like is a circle with what looks like pie slices out of it, okay? And there's 12 of those around the center. They're not always equidistant, they're not always the same size, but each of those is called a house. And that is where we play out our issues. Not the how, right? The how, the what is the planet, the how is the sign, and the house is the year. So what I will look at often in the chart is the second and eighth house, along with all this other stuff. And why? So the second and the eighth house are directly opposite each other. And it's sort of an axis of possession and power. The second house, and don't shy away from those words, okay? They have judgments in them. And sometimes we need to let those judgments go and change the language a little bit if we need to, but there's still concepts in there we don't want to shy away from. So, second house, what is that? It is the things that we surround ourselves with that help us define ourselves. It may talk about you as a minimalist. It may talk about you as a collector. It may talk about you not in terms of what you surround yourself with, but why you pick those things. What is physically important to you? It's another expression of self. Kind of like once we know we are an individual, if you're a Buddhist, I know this might not work for you, right? Because you want to let go of ego. But once we know that we are a spirit and a body having a physical experience, that physical body needs stuff, some stuff, maybe not a lot, but some stuff, and that helps define who you are. Second house. Directly across from it is the eighth house, and the eighth house I lovingly refer to as everything Freud, right? Sex, right? Love, money that we inherit, death, deep spiritual experiences. It's the house of Scorpio, and that always gets people kind of thinking, Scorpio. Scorpios are very nice. I have many Scorpios in my life, and I love them dearly. What does that eighth house, second house relationship talk about? Again, it talks about that how we account for ourselves, the sort of implications about what we have and how we judge what we have. It talks about our sense of economy and ecology. And in some level, it talks about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. What do we really need? Who would I be? What would happen if I lost everything? I just lost it. Who would I be? I had my favorite astrologer was asking that question and said, if you woke up with no memory of most stuff, what do you think you would go do? And I thought that's an amazing question because I'm not sure. But COVID has kind of pushed me into that realm of seeking that answer. If I lose connection with others, if I'm really pretty solo, what would I want? Okay. So our second house, let's dive into it a little bit deeper. And we want to see what I would look at is are the planets in here? What sign rules it? And if you have your chart, you just look at that little slice there, and you see what is the sign that rules it. It's like sitting right there in that little pie-shaped house. The second house then is sort of also our relationship to the natural world. It is something that teaches us so deeply that element of who we are. And eighth house then, it is, like I said, that other element of fear and of deep, deep emotional connection. And so money then goes back and forth between those two, and we can talk about how you feel about it. Can I tell you how much money you're going to have now? What I can tell you is where your issues around creating wealth might be. And maybe you don't have any, which is lovely, which is absolutely lovely. But where might you be hung up in? For example, what if you have Chiron in there? Chiron is your wound. Are you wounded in that wound? What if you have Venus? Let's go back to the planets we talked about. What if Venus is in one of those houses? Do you love yourself enough to create money for yourself? Do you have Venus in your eighth house and you're worried about who you might be if you actually had money? Is it scary? What if you have Mars? Is Mars your drive then to build for yourself? Second house. Is it your drive then to create something from passion and something bigger than yourself? For yourself? Maybe for yourself. But something again that might be a little scary. Are you willing to face your own passions to create? And trust me, if you've got Mercury in the eighth house, you communicate with passion. That's how you communicate. And you passionately create or communicate in a way that tells people who you are and what you value. And you really don't hedge your bets. Met somebody recently with a really, really packed house, and all those planets were in Scorpio, and I won't reveal who this person is. But oh my gosh, this person is exactly what this person says is exactly who this person is. And they don't hedge their bets. They don't pull back. They don't pull any punches. And it's all very truthful, whether you like it or not. And I have to say that there's something incredibly refreshing about that. In this world of I'm not sure what people are talking about sometimes. So in our chart, we have all of these elements that talk to us about how we feel about money, how we embrace money. So, okay, how might we weave these things together? And I think that that's an important notion because I really do want to talk to you, and I am going to talk to you in a minute here about the retrogrades and the eclipses because it's important. But what do we do with this information? So sure, if you're starting a business, you can use those three premise that we talked about to weave together your idea of a brand and who you are, and you can work on it. You can also use them to look at what does money mean to you. And I have to tell you that our relationship with money governs our wealth. I've seen it over and over and over again. Now, again, you may say, I've met people who are millionaires, I really have, who live in a scarcity mentality. They tell me that every day they worry, really, about losing their money. That's all they can think about. They don't enjoy their money. They may look like they're living well, but they're unhappy and they're stressed. And they don't necessarily want to give it away and share it. And they have more than they need for 3 lifetimes. But all they can think about is what will happen to me if I lose this money. They live a very fearful life. That's not prosperity. That is not abundance. And yeah, you might like to try it. Let me be rich and less happy, and then I'll learn to be happy. Well, here's an interesting secret. Let's try happiness first. Let's feel that relationship with money first. Let's look at those wounds around money first. And then watch money come to you in a way that fills your soul. A way that makes you happy. A way where you feel abundant and not overburdened. You move from a scarcity mentality to an abundance mentality. I know it sounds like woo-woo stuff, doesn't it? Like, oh my gosh, what is this about? But there is a magic, there is a mojo to how we think about money, and that's what your chart is doing. And when you're aware of that, and you go to start a business, you are then communicating to clients exactly who you are, what you offer, and why they should want to work with you. That's what Venus, Mars, Mercury do. We bring those together. That's what those three planets help you do. And then, looking at that second and eighth house, we can also look at where are you wounded. What is that relationship like? So that when you make money, you stay successful. It's so fascinating. If you look at people who have hit lava, there's a huge percentage, I think it might be 75%, that within 5 years are worse off than they were before they hit lava. And this is if they won money. And it's because their idea of money and their idea of who they are never changed. If you live in an idea of scarcity, there's never enough money. There's never enough anything. So instead of seeing yourself surrounded by happiness and wealth and opportunity, you feel like you're always having to guard against people trying to take things from you. So here's why I wanted to talk about all of this today. Because there is a sense in the world that for someone else to have something, I have to use something. That's basic scarcity mentality. It's a zero-sum game. There's only so much. Right? Well, yeah, if you're eating a pizza, there's only so much pizza. However, the world actually doesn't look like that. There's more than that. It's just that some of us gather more than our share, and some of us are unwilling to take what is ours, or feel that we don't deserve it, or, quite honestly, have to fight against a world that keeps us from having it. Absolutely. This isn't about blame. Ever, ever, ever. It's never about blame. But there is enough when we all understand that we have what we need. You know, it's funny, I was listening to something one of my teachers, and I have a master's, a second master's in Jewish mysticism, and they were talking about, the Israelites are wandering through the desert, and they don't have food, which is really weird because they had all these flocks. They left Egypt with, so I've always wondered about that. But maybe they're all vegetarians at this point, and they're eating manna, which is given to them every day, and there's always enough. And manna tastes like whatever you want it to taste. And you can cook it, you can do things with it. There's always enough. And yet there were still people who gathered more than they needed just to have more than they needed. And what they had, when they gathered more than they needed, it's spoiled. Because they had more than they needed. And so part of our charts is also that. Don't gather more than you need. And take what you do need. And it is there. Okay. Enough sort of prosperity stuff. Let's look at what's happening in the world today. Okay? I am still checking in to see if there are any comments in the Facebook site. Because you want to chat with me. You do, right? Though I have to say, maybe, just maybe, my voice is hypnotizing, right? And all you can think about is listening to me. I'm not asking you any questions. Which today is okay. In the crystal ball hour, it's mandatory. You have to ask questions if I'm going to give you readings. Okay, so what's happening in the sky? Things have been crazy, right? We talked about the retrogrades, we talked about Pluto next to Saturn, I had Jimmy Dawn on, she talked about some of the things. What's going on right now? Yes. Well, Mercury, the planet of communication that we just talked about, in the sky, not in your chart, right? In the sky, it went retrograde, which means from where the Earth is, it appears to be moving backwards. And trust me, gravity's a thing, right? Planets never actually move backwards in the sky. But they can appear to move backwards because of the shape and speed of their orbit in relationship to Earth. Think about being in a car. Like you pulled up to a stoplight, there's a car next to you, and they slowly start creeping backwards, and you feel like you've shot forward, right? That's the idea of the retrograde, that it's a relationship. When Mercury goes retrograde, and most people have heard of Mercury retrograde because it's even made it to the TV screen, right? In movies, people will mention it. And Mercury gets a really bad rap when it goes retrograde. Mercury is the planet of communication, and we like to communicate outward. I'm saying things, you're listening to them, everything's working. When Mercury goes retrograde, we are pushed inward. We are asked to slow down. Consider our words. Consider what we're saying and what we're doing. And you know what? That's hard for us, right? We communicate out. Communicating in, reflecting, stopping, thinking is not necessarily our natural state. And yet, it's a great place to be. So Mercury goes retrograde, and typically something to do with electronics or communication devices goes wrong, right? So remember, right before it went retrograde, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile, I think, that was, they were down. Cell phone trouble. Internet has been a little bit unpredictable for some people. You may have trouble with your phone, your computer. You may find that you thought you were meeting somebody on 2nd Street at 1, but they showed up on 1st Street at 2. Things like that. Where it happens in the chart is how it's manifesting for you. So Mercury is retrograde in Cancer, in a water sign. And so if you are a Cancer, it may hit you a little more, let's say, deeply. And wherever you have Cancer in your chart, that is where you're going to really have this feeling, this sort of tension of the retrograde. And maybe if you're a Capricorn and you're the opposite sign, you're going to also have that sort of sense of, like, oh my gosh, this is a really bad retrograde. The secret to handling a retrograde is to accept it. Wow, that's slow down. And what we're told, the mythology around the Mercury retrograde, is don't do anything. Don't sign a contract. Don't buy a car. Don't sell your house. It's not quite true. If during this retrograde you get an idea that's never occurred to you, like you should move to a foreign country and you should change careers and learn a different language and perhaps marry for the first time or leave a family or start a family. Any idea that you did not have before this retrograde that is now seems brilliant, yeah, don't do that. Wait on that. Don't invest there. Because it's ideas that we get during the retrograde that sometimes lead us astray. Why? Because we're going inward and we are looking at, all of a sudden we have all these different notions and ideas. Maybe I should do this, maybe I should do that, and it's wonderful. But don't act on it. However, if for months you've been wondering, should I launch a business? Or your house has been on the market, or you're looking for the perfect house or the perfect car, and find it during a retrograde, read the contract well, but yeah, it's a good time to buy. I have found most of the houses and sold most of the houses during the retrograde. I know people who almost always end up buying a car during the retrograde. They've been thinking about it for quite a while. They've been looking for the perfect car, and then that car shows up because things went retrograde. And we slow down enough to notice what we truly desire, to notice what's really going on in the world. Okay, so Mercury is retrograde until July 12th. So take care of your phones, take care of your computers, don't drop things. Don't be surprised if there's confusion around you. All of that good stuff. And more comments. Feel free to comment, even if you're in Mercury retrograde, comment on Facebook. And next week, Venus, which has been retrograde, will go direct. So if you're starting a business, my suggestion is to wait until Venus goes direct, which is, I'll give you the date in a second, June 25th. So Mercury will be retrograde. You've been thinking about starting something, doing something, looking for something. You think it's the right time. You found it. Okay, you're still a little nervous. Venus will go direct on the 25th. Probably a good time to start. Read contracts carefully, right? Don't make like, quick decisions, jump decisions. Don't do that. Be thoughtful. What has been happening during this Venus retrograde is we've been shoved in examine what we really want, what we crave. And you may have had people from your past show up, which is kind of cool. And we'll go to wrath. Many of the sort of issues hanging in the sky around love will probably clear up. Right? So that's happening. Jupiter is still retrograde in Capricorn. Saturn is still retrograde it was in Aquarius and moved into Capricorn. What is also Neptune will go retrograde about the same time that Venus goes retrograde, and Pluto is still retrograde. So we have these planets changing direction. When planets change direction, let's say that they were going backwards, they're going forwards, and again, they're not actually doing that. We find changes in the economy. We find changes in the way people think. We see shifts in how we deal with issues. So on each of those days, we may find new information revealed. You may find that some things get a little cloudier, but some things become much, much clearer. Right? This is a back and forth. And again, where do you want to find this? And how is it affecting you personally? You go into your own chart. And let me add, that is not enough. We had an eclipse. Right? We had a lunar eclipse in Sagittarius, the 5th, 6th of June. We have a solar eclipse on the 21st. Right? This was the on the um, on the solstice. I just lost my thought. In Sagittarius, and that is followed by the beginning of July, the 4th of July, the lunar eclipse. Okay. What are eclipses? Oh, okay. An eclipse is just a shot of energy. So imagine it as a shot of happening into your chart at that place that that sign present, where it resides. Okay? So, all you Sagittarius out there, you should have had a shot of energy, whether you wanted it or not, with the lunar eclipse. The same thing will happen with the solar eclipse and then Capricorns. The same thing. Now, if those are your sun signs or your moon signs or your rising signs, you're going to feel it more intensely. However, everybody has a house that is governed by one of those signs. So take a look at your chart. Now, if you are listening and you're like, oh my gosh, I wish she had my chart, because if she had my chart, she could talk about me live on the radio. Well, you know, there's an easy way to deal with that. You can post in the Facebook site before my show and say, oh my gosh, if you're talking astrology, run my chart, talk about me. And I will. Instead of just talking about myself, because you're following me interested in my life. So that is one way to sort of engage with me on the radio. What does all this stuff mean? It means that, yeah, life has been a bit crazy. But the planets are not here to mess with us. Astrology isn't a way that any sort of godlike being or universal energy says, oh, I think I'll just roll some dice and see how badly I can mess people up. That's not it. The planets do their thing, and they do their thing to create energies of change and transformation. And it's how we react, because we always have choice. Humans have free will. We have the will to choose how we react to any situation. Any situation. If you want to challenge me on that and say, I bet there are people who've never had choice, go out and read Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning. He survived 3 concentration camps during the Holocaust in Nazi Germany, and also in Poland. He survived those camps, and he came up with the theory that said humans can survive anywhere if they have a profound will. And in any situation, we have choice. How will we react? How will we respond to the life that we are living right now, to the world around us? We have choice. You can be a philanthropist. That could be your choice. You could donate blood. That could be your choice. You could help your neighbor. That can be your choice. You can look inward and find your own wounds and heal your own wounds in a way that helps heal the rest of the planet. You have choice. You have options. Maybe not as many choices as other people in the world. We all have free will. We all have choice. We all have the choice to move the needle from fear to hope, from fear to joy, to embrace the life that we are given, and to live from a place of gratitude. We all have that choice. And then to want something better for others. To then say this world can be a better place. To then look at the planets and say, they're telling us that this can be a better place. Okay, I hope that's enough to inspire you today. You have been listening to the Dr. Elisa Show here on KUHS, The Stream in Denver. And can you believe I've been talking for an hour? That's amazing, isn't it? Almost an hour, a little shy. My show is now every other Thursday, so I won't talk to you next week, but I will be so excited to talk to you the week after that. And please let me hear from you during the week. Go into Facebook and post. You can find me, Elisa Rodden. You can find the Dr. Elisa Show, easy, find me there. Post some comments, questions. You can find me on my website, read my blog, see a replay of this show on my website and on my other shows, elisarodden.com, or LinkedIn. or just go to KUHS, Denver, the stream, and find me there. What I hope for you this week is that you leave this show today with a sense of inspired spirit, and that you can't wait to talk to me. You can't wait to go out and live a life where you've moved the needle from fear to joy, fear to gratitude, and live that sense of inspiration. Thank you to my sponsors, the MS Society, VeteransPride.org, and PeakWellness.com. And thank you, all of you listeners, for being there and for listening to me on the Dr. Lisa Show at KUHS. Bye.